YouTube, what the crap's going on? I met Beelzebub online. Didn't realize I was going to be having a one-on-one battle with Satan here, so it's pretty impressive. Anyway, yeah, he's up here. He's got a dire pack hidden out here, which is pretty cool. It's an anti-large dire wolf unit. I don't think they're going to be all that great, but you never know. Blood Knight. His main body here is skeleton warriors with a sternsman, a grave guard, claw of Nagash, and a skeleton spear in the back with cryptors, meaning to do a lot of the damage. Decent little setup here in the center. He's got 2 fell bats for trying to go after skirmishers. I've got 2 demigryph knights with halberds. I have to play honest against the threat of blood knights. And so that's why I bring the demigryph knights with halberds, and then they double as being effective against air units that come down on the ground. They also are good at getting behind enemy lines, and they're good against cryptors. And so that's the reason why I like to bring them. And against the vampires, I like to go ahead and bring cheap infantry. But some of the cheap infantry I like to bring, they're kind of a mix of cheap and expensive, is the halberds. These guys do pretty decent against Graveguard, because Graveguard are high armor, low charge. And then the spearmen, of course, are just helpful on the flanks against monsters or cavalry. So I'm going to go cheap on infantry so as to hopefully do as much damage to the vampires with the least effort and save money for all these handgunners. And I don't think the vampire is going to have enough power to get past my demigryph knights to get to my 4 handgunners. Vampires are slow, and I'm banking on the fact that my handgunners are going to be the damage-dealing element of my army. They are going to pound through the cryptors, through the corpse carts, the lords, whatever it is. And then my other army the pieces of my army just need to hold long enough for them to get the job done. I am using an Empire General on a Griffin, and he's scouting the enemy right now. And as I see the enemy army, note that I cannot see these units out in the woods, and I'm like, this is not a complete vampire army. So I was expecting an ambush of sorts, and I hadn't yet scouted out this area or this area. I moved a little bit further over here just to see if I could spot anything on the edge of these woods. His fell bats right now are no concern to me. They're not going to be able to do the damage they need. And he's moving forward. Let's take a look at the vampire formation here. There's a very inherent flaw with the vampire's approach here. And take a minute and think about it here. What do you think it is? What do you think this vampire player is about to walk into? So they're in a big blob. They're coming up against the Empire, and you got this guy standing right in the middle of the group right here, a light wizard. So there's only one reason why I bring a light wizard, and it's Net of Amentok. So this vampire army is right outside of my gun range, and as soon as they get inside of it, you can be assured they are going to get stuck to the ground. And my very first target is going to be the Claw of Nagash. Very expensive Mortis engine. And this is a danger of bringing the Claw of Nagash against a faction who has reliable skirmishers, and especially against the Empire, who can pin all your crap down and then focus fire. And you're going to see that very thing happen here. So here comes the Net of Amentok, focused right on the Claw of Nagash. Look how many units I catch right here in the center. The bulk of his army gets caught, and if he charges with the rest of these guys, they're going to go unsupported. And then here comes the hail of fire into the Claw of Nagash. He makes a last-ditch effort here to tie down as many of my handgunners as possible with his bats, but the bats are going to die near instantly to my demigryphs with halberds and my Empire General who intercepted them on their way down. So my handgunners are already going to be free, and this extended duration net is going to be a big problem for him. His Blood Knights are just kind of standing out to the side. They're not really sure where to go yet. And at this point, his army is in big trouble just because of the one spell. So again, the Empire can be extremely dangerous to the vampires if they fall into this kind of trap right here with that net. Look at the damage done to the Mortis engine. This is going to cause a reaction from it. Now, he's using Vlad as his general. Didn't want to go air-to-air combat versus the Empire. Definitely understandable. And he shouldn't have, because I could have kept my general within the protection of all these gunners. And I had a Net of Amentok, so going on an aerial battle against me here would have been suicide. So you can see his Mortis engine just gets absolutely massacred by the firing squad. It's so large that my gunners can shoot at it from far behind my lines in relative safety. So his extremely expensive, this is 1,600 gold right here, being absolutely destroyed. And the next target of interest is going to be the cryptors. And this Mortis engine dying is going to have an impact on the rest of his army because it can no longer tear hit points off of my units slowly over time. I'm going to reinforce more swords over here, more spears. And I'm going to just bog down his cryptors, and now my handgunners are going to start targeting cryptors. And at this point, my opponent is going to have to be in a mode of desperation because the damage dealers in his army which is the Claw of Nagash, and these horrors are getting absolutely massacred. Again, he's just sitting back with his Blood Knights. I'm not sure if he's just not sure what to do with them or what. I mean, there's 2 Demigryph Knights he's got to get past, and a General of the Empire that's not even having to ground itself. So this Cryptor gets wrecked. My opponent's going to be forced to use the Invocation of the Heck. He's forced to use Erase the Dead to try and slow down my gunners, but he can't stop all my gunners, so the firing persists. A Cryptor goes down, and I've been saving the next Net of Amantok on my Light Wizard, and I've been saving it for this very thing because I saw this White King and the Blood Knights. They're aiming for a charge on the flank. They're keeping their distance, but good luck with that. They're close enough that I can hit them with the Net of Amantok. I get an unopposed charge here onto his Blood Knights with my 2 Demigryph Knights with halberds, which means his Blood Knights will get absolutely massacred, and then the General of the Empire is going to roll in and take out his White King. He's going to reinforce with the Dire Pack, but the problem is trying to rear charge into a Net of Amantok. Yep, guess what happens? That. So again, the Empire has a major tool that the Vampires really struggle to counter. The Vampires would need some type of Dispel magic, which I believe that all factions had such a thing in the tabletop, though I'm not super familiar with the tabletop, so I could be wrong. But the unsupported Vampire Infantry over here is getting wrecked. They're starting to crumble. Vlad von Karstein, I'm not going to do a lot of damage to him. I mean, he's going to be, he's over here somewhere, I think. Where is Vladdy? Vladdy Poo, where you at, buddy? Okay, here he is over here. Yeah, so Vlad's going to be decent against the blob of infantry, but it's just not going to work out. You can see out here the cavalry just gets absolutely roasted. The Blood Knight's already gone, the White King's gone, and the Dire Wolves were almost gone. My opponent admits defeat. Net of Amantok, people. Net of Amantok. And it can be difficult for the Vampires to deal with because they don't have any range units. You know, there's some things that you can use against the Empire when they're trying to use a Light Wizard like that, but you have to be very, very careful. The Net of Amantok is 200-meter range. On the extended cast, it will keep your guys stuck for a very long time. The best way to counter the Net of Amantok, if you see it, is to keep your units spread out. Don't let them get all blobbed up on top of each other. That's going to be an absolute key. It may be if you're going to use a Flying Lord with the Net of Amantok around, you know, with the Vampires, it may not hurt to have a unit of Felbats up around them to try and give them some hit point protection if you get stuck and charged. But in this case, I mean, you can see my army here worked out great for me. My halberds performed beautifully. My handgunners did all the damage that I needed them to. My Demigryph Knights easily able to flatten the Blood Knights, and his Cryptors were able to get nothing done because everything they came up against was anti-large and bullets. So there was just nothing there for them to accomplish. Vlad was the only Vampire unit here that got any work done, and that's expected. Nothing I had here was really going to be good at stopping Vlad. The idea was to kill everything else, and I succeeded in that. So no kills on the Dire Pack, no kills on the Claw of Nagash, only 2 kills on a Blood Knight. So these are the key items here, then 1 kill on this Cryptor, 10 there. So those are going to be the keys to victory in this one. Again, what do you all think about the Empire-Vampire matchup? Do you lean Vampire? Do you lean Empire? Or Vampire or Empire? Yeah, it gets confusing. So I lean towards Empire because of the Net of Amantok and the Skirmishers. Just again, it's the variety of the Empire to me that beats their opponents because it makes them harder to counter build, and it gives them more possible counter builds to you. I do believe the Vampires are a very good faction, and I do believe you're going to see Vampires win battles against any faction depending on who they're used by and how well they're used. But again, that's just my thoughts. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed this. You're awesome viewers. I really appreciate you coming to watch this every day. And you're fantastic. I love making this for you. I appreciate MSI for sponsoring this build that I'm recording with. It helps me bring you high-quality videos. I'm looking forward to doing more videos with you in the near future. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now.